Mark's not dead. He'll just be back for Christmas. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Bo Burnham, Art is Dead and How the World Works. So I want to clarify something real quick here before we get into this and everything. I posted the previous Bo Burnham reaction and people were like mentioning to me like, oh, this doesn't make sense out of context, out of the context of the album. It's like this isn't really meant to be as funny and everything, and stuff like that. And people who like either don't normally comment on the channel or new to the channel checking out because, oh, they're looking up Bo Burnham stuff and whatnot. So I want to clarify some things. First off, these Bo Burnham reactions are donation rewards. They were requested specifically by Sweet Venom, and they are something that I probably wouldn't check out otherwise, which a lot of these reactions are. So I wouldn't know that this is something that kind of needs more context to make it work. It's not something I would, well, have the context for that with. Because, like I said, this is something that I wouldn't watch otherwise. A lot of donation rewards, whether they be movies, shows, etc., are stuff that either due to time or just opportunity or etc., sometimes due to just not really having too much interest, it's stuff that I wouldn't check out on my own time. People request it to have me be able to check it out, but also, record a reaction to it. And this is definitely one of those things I wouldn't check out on my own time. I don't tend to watch stand-up comedy stuff. I don't listen to their albums, etc., etc. And that goes for pretty much any comedian. The only time I ever see anything related to stand-up comedy is if I'm scrolling through TikTok and just randomly happen upon something. So it makes sense that I wouldn't know. Also, in that same kind of regard, I pretty much don't know much of anything about Bo Burnham. So I don't remember if there were comments about like what I had said regarding his look and everything, and how things were set up and whatnot. But yeah, it's like this is not someone I'm like, even in the little bit of comedy and everything I know, he's just not someone I'm familiar with. Because of reasons like this, I'm not going to have all this context. So please keep that in mind. I'm not going to be able to know like, oh, this works better within the full context of the album, etc., etc. I'm reacting to these because they were requested of me. And the only reason I did one last time, because Venom, I believe you specifically mentioned that you were surprised that I only did one, that you kind of meant for me to do multiple at once, was just, I believe, because of timing and whatnot. I needed something quick and easy. And we're only doing two today, basically for the same thing, because I got a lot of stuff to get taken care of today. It's my first day back from taking a weekend break due to going to a convention. And so I can only do these two today. So I'm just going to say right off the bat, if anything I say in here, like, doesn't make sense to, like, a fan of Bo Burnham and everything because, oh, this song makes more sense in context, or this song, like, if you know about Bo Burnham and know about his life and everything, it makes sense. It's like, I won't have that context. Keep that in mind. I'm going in blind, only really having seen two things from this guy in my life, and knowing nothing about him. So my reaction here is based purely off of my experience seeing and hearing this content as it is in the moment. I don't have anything backing it. Keep that in mind, please. Now, in the same regard, though, with the one we had last time, I did mention that it wasn't really funny at all. That it seemed a lot more serious, a lot more personal. And from what I've gathered from what people have said, that was the intent. It was meant to be more serious and personal. And again, makes more sense within the context of the album, but I didn't know that going in. That's why it confused me. That's why it threw me off. These are my first reactions. I'm going into them not knowing anything about what's going to happen, not about what's going to be said or anything. So keep that in mind. I can't guess everything just based on the title. Like, Art is Dead. I mean, I don't know exactly what he's going to talk about here. You could make a guess that it's like, oh, the downfall of artistic integrity or something like that. Hell, maybe this will be relevant to the current discussions about AI and stuff in terms of art and whatnot. It might. It might have stuff connected to that. Maybe not through AI specifically, because this might be older, but it might be like that basic idea that can definitely apply towards the argument of AI in art. I don't know. That's just a guess based off of a 3-word title. And how the world works. Could be talking about the unfairness of governments and stuff. I don't know. Could be talking about literally how the world spins in space. I don't know. I don't know anything about these. I don't know when each of these came out. I don't know when, like, what any of them are about. I'm going in blind. So just wanted to really, really make that clear here. I'm not going to understand everything if context is needed. I'm just, my thoughts are based purely on this first viewing and with nothing really backing it. So, all of that being said, we're going to get into these, and I hope to enjoy them. I'm still willing to give this a chance, because it's almost... Excuse me, hold on. Excuse me. Sorry. I knew that was coming. I felt it coming. I just felt it was a better idea to just stop for a moment, let it happen, move on. So let's do so. I'm willing to give, like, anyone a chance here. And with a comedian, it's like I can't really judge him based off of one thing. Or technically two, because I had seen the Welcome to the Internet thing prior on, like, TikTok. But it's like I don't have context enough to judge him as a comedian yet. I need to see more. And so I'm willing to see more. I'm absolutely willing to check out more and see if maybe my viewpoint changes on things. And I hope that it does. So I just wanted to say all this to let you know that I understand that for fans of Bo Burnham, my statements and everything might have seemed confused or, just unclear or even wrong. Because, yeah, again, they kind of would be. For when you're talking about someone who doesn't have any of this context, who's just going in and experiencing something as it is. But we'll see if things change. Hopefully they do. Let's get into more of this and go on from there. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about the gaming channel. We have Baldur's Gate 3 every single day. We have Horizon Forbidden West every Monday and Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays is Life is Strange Double Exposure. And Wednesdays and Sundays is Beyond Two Souls. On Saturdays, we have both Poppy Playtime and Near Automata. And on top of that, don't forget to click the link in the description below to get to today's reaction. I redirect everything just due to copyright. You know how it is. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So these were two very different kinds of videos / songs with, I think, kind of the same idea, but extremely different levels of execution to my perspective and everything. But I want to start out with, like, prefacing this by saying, like, a comedian's job is to, you know, be funny by utilizing their experiences, their observations, their viewpoints of the world in order to make people laugh, whether it's based on things that they've noticed that people do, things that they've noticed that they do with their family members or friends or people around them, things regarding the world and the state it's in, etc., etc. And that can and often does involve socio-political issues. A lot of comedians will use this in order to touch on very harsh topics in a more lighthearted way that makes it easier to digest for a lot of people. And this allows people to be more willing to listen to this kind of information. And that's important because some people will outright refuse to, like, hear about anything political, anything sociological in the world because it's so harsh, it's so heavy, it's so intense. But if they hear it from a comedian, it's like, oh, well, I can understand this now. It won't bum me out as much. Here's the thing. I don't find Bo Burnham funny. Like, his commentary here, and I'll get to that in a moment when I talk about each of these separately, but his commentary, especially in the second one, was really good, and the presentation was interesting in that regards. But I kind of mentioned this last time and everything, with when I was acting, like, he's supposed to be funny, right? He's supposed to be a comedian. That's what he is. Like, that's his job as an entertainer, right? He's a comedian. Or am I mistaken here? Because he's not funny. He's not making jokes. Like, you can do a song and make jokes and still, like, have this socio-political commentary as well. That's, again, a very strong way to do this. But he's not making jokes at all. He's just sharing the commentary through song. Nothing about it is funny. Nothing about it is clearly meant to be funny. And I understand that some things, may work better in terms of tone regarding, like, certain contexts and stuff. Like, the tone of this makes more sense when you listen to it with the full album and everything, and so on and so forth. Sure, I get that. But nothing I've heard from him so far, and these are, like, the third and fourth things I've heard from him have been funny. It's like, I'm genuinely asking here, by the way. I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm not trying to, like, even, like, take a dig at him. I'm just saying, genuinely, does he consider himself a comedian? Because I don't get it yet. I see him as an entertainer, but not a comedian. And the thing is, I almost feel like it has to be, yes, he does, because the second video there was from Netflix's joke, which is literally comedians. That's literally the point of that subsection of Netflix. But again, there was no humor to that whatsoever. Not a single joke was made, not a single thing about it was funny. But again, I'm not saying it's bad. I want to make that very clear right off the bat. I am not complaining about this in a way to say that it's bad, in a way to say that it's like a terrible thing or anything. No, I'm just saying it's not funny. And I'm really confused because I thought he was supposed to be a comedian, thought he was supposed to be making jokes with his songs as well. It's like it's not even like comedic songs. Like the songs aren't even comedic in nature. There's no jokes, no humor to the songs, to the lyrics, to anything. But like I said, that doesn't mean they're bad. Let me talk about each of them separately and give my thoughts on them as they are, in my opinion. Because I do have very different thoughts on both. So obviously both touch on commentary, with the first one being Art is Dead. So this is one where he's basically going on about how he's, a selfish, lazy, kind of wreck of a person because he's an artist, he's an entertainer. And a lot of entertainers and artists tend to be like that. They don't seemingly put forth as much hard, strenuous effort and work into their careers as, engineers or whatnot do. People who have like bigger, more important jobs, doctors and whatnot, lawyers, etc., etc. They wake up, they sleep in late, they wake up late, they dress like slobs and everything. All the kinds of stuff he's saying in this. And that's what this entire song is about, that you shouldn't worship or look up to these entertainers because they're not like doing anything important. They're not doing anything they're not putting forth all of this important, strong effort into changing things for the better. They're just being dumbasses, acting like children and whatnot in a lot of cases. And it's like, okay, so this is self-deprecating. There's a lot of artists who do self-deprecating humor, and I know that's a not always super well received form of humor. Some people just don't get it. I'm okay with self-deprecating humor as long as it's funny. It wasn't funny because, like I said, he wasn't making any jokes. He's basically just pointing things out about himself and other artists slash entertainers. He's not making any jokes. He's not saying anything that is funny. And I mean, he prefaced it by saying it's not really funny, right? So I guess he's self-aware in that, but it's like I don't get it. He's just pointing out that he doesn't do as important of work as a doctor or something. It's like, I think everybody knows that. I understand, like, there is a culture who kind of, like, worships celebrities, worships entertainers and whatnot, actors, comedians, sports stars, etc., when they don't give that same kind of attention towards, again, the important people, engineers, doctors, etc., etc. But again, if this kind of self-deprecating thing doesn't work unless it's humorous, unless it's funny. Otherwise, you're just pointing stuff out that it's like, I could just go on Twitter and see that someone else posts the exact same thing. And it's like, I don't feel any better about it because he's singing it and stuff, but it doesn't make it any more digestible. Because again, there's no humor to it, there's no entertainment to it. It's like you can't even say like, oh, he's like giving this fun, upbeat song. It's like, yeah, maybe that would help if the dude could sing. I'm sorry. I really don't mean to just be insulting, but I believe I said this last time too. He can't sing. He's not a good singer, and I don't think he's trying to be. I think he's using music as a medium for his commentary, and for some reason trying to paint it as comedy as well, which I just don't get. But he's spreading commentary through this medium of music, which is fine. A lot of musicians do this. I mean, look at like Rise Against or Green Day. It's like Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, great artists who, yes, their songs' lyrics are all about sending a message and everything. But they can actually, sing. The singers of each group and everything specifically, of course, but they can sing, they can play their instruments and all. And he's like, he can play piano and everything. He can do that. I have no issue with his piano playing. He just can't sing. And his lyrics, honestly, not the best either. Especially for this first one. It's like he's just kind of like running in circles with his lyrics, and it's like, okay, maybe he gets better over time. And then so we watch the second one, The Way the World Works. His lyrics have gotten better. I will give him that. And that makes sense too. He seemingly a lot younger in the first video, and in the second one he's older. He's become better with writing and everything. His lyrics are better. That being said, the way the world works, still not funny. He's just using this sing-song and sock puppet thing to explain how fucked up the world is and how it gets by based on genocide and slavery and capitalism and horrific shit, basically. And it's like I feel like is almost trying to make it funny by having the sock puppet, but again, he doesn't do anything funny with it. He doesn't say any jokes. The closest he gets is at the end when he's like doing the existential thing with the sock puppet. It's like, don't take me off, don't take me off, I don't want to go back and everything. And then he like does exactly what they were talking about with the song and everything about like forcing the puppet to call him sir and to basically be obedient and act in the way of like a slave and everything to him. And it's like, it's not funny though. In fact, it's actually kind of scary and upsetting. And that works, don't get me wrong, for the message and the material here. Again, it's talking about legitimately horrifying shit and how our world runs on that horrifying shit. How it's literally what has created the world we live in. And he even briefly brings up how it's not about us as white people. Myself, obviously, being white, clearly. But it's not about us because we're privileged. We have status, and it's people of color and whatnot who are put down by systems like this. He could have touched on that, I feel, a little bit more, but we get the gist here. And again, this is all, what he's saying here is true. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's fact and if it's proven about the CIA being the ones who assassinated MLK Jr. I've heard that as a conspiracy theory, but I don't know if there's like fact to that. There might be. I could see it being true. I don't know if it is though. But everything else he said, absolutely true. Provably true. And it's like, that's great, and I guess it makes it maybe a little more digestible. But I still, again, especially with the fact that this is like on Netflix as a joke and everything, it's like, this isn't comedy. It's not funny. It's entirely serious. The only thing that's like slightly off about it is the fact that he's telling this through like a sock puppet, and that the song starts off like a little more positive with saying, "Oh, the world works through everyone working together, and you know, all these symbiotic relationships and stuff." And then it goes into like more of the truth of the matter. But it's not funny. It's just the first part is how a lot of people, especially, let's be honest, the right, try to claim is how the world works. And then you have the reality of the situation with where he goes into the rest of the song, talking about the horrific truths of how the world actually works. And again, it's really good commentary. Like, really good commentary. And this is stuff that people need to know. And if this is a way to get people to hear this stuff, great. Wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. More people need to hear this and to, like, actually really hear this. You know what I mean? Not just like, oh, hand wave it off after reading something briefly on social media. There's a lot of people who really need to, like, actually listen to what's being said here. And through a method like this, they might. But if I'm watching a comedy special and this is what I get, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask for my money back. Because it's like, this is not funny. This is not comedy. This is honestly fucking depressing. Really fucking depressing. And it's like, this is all stuff I obviously knew going into this, but it's like, if I'm gonna turn on a video that's supposed to be comedy, I want it to at least be entertaining and funny, and not to just kind of bring down my mood. It's like, this isn't like making it that much more digestible just because it's upbeat. It's not even so much that I'm disappointed, it's just I'm confused. And before anyone says anything, of course, like, if this works more within the context of, like, the album, like, because at least for one of these I mentioned, like, the album will be out, blah, blah, blah. Sure. Or the second one maybe works better with, like, within context of a special or whatnot. In terms of tone and stuff. And maybe it's just the specific ones I'm getting. But again, these were requested of me, and I'm getting to them in the order that they were requested of me, as I tend to do. So I can only judge it based on what I'm given here. I don't get it. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm not saying he's like a bad comedian. I wouldn't know because I haven't heard him be a comedian yet. I wouldn't say he's like a bad entertainer, although I genuinely don't think he can sing. But that's just personal opinion and everything. I mean, there's a lot of professional singers out there I don't think can sing either. So, looking at Taylor Swift, for example, just as an example. But yeah, it's a matter of, like, okay, you go to a singing comedian, you don't expect them to be like a great singer. You just expect them to be, entertaining and funny and everything. But when I'm not getting that, it's like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to be expecting here. The commentary's great. No entertainment value, though. For me, at least. maybe his style's not for me. Like, you can't even really call this dry humor, because with dry humor there's still humor. It's jokes are still being made. He's not making any jokes. There's no punchlines, there's no setups. There's he's just saying facts about things. And it's just like, "Okay?" Oh, because he's saying them in an upbeat kind of sounding song, because he's not like being depressing and grumpy about it. That makes it comedy. I don't know. We're gonna continue to go through the videos I have from the requests and everything. Um, Hopefully, I end up getting something at some point that ends up being, more comedy. Maybe it's just the videos. Maybe these were requested because Venom, you know where I tend to lean regarding this stuff, and you know that there is a lot to talk about in regards to this kind of commentary and whatnot. Maybe you wanted more to hear me like discuss that side of things and everything, but I just feel like I have certain expectations going into someone who calls themselves a comedian, and that's more what I'm looking for here. Maybe it was more like an issue in perspective there, I guess. But yeah, just in terms of the commentary, like I said, really good. Everything being said is correct. Like, this world's an extremely fucked up place that is run on extremely fucked up things, and it's not fair, it's not okay, and so many people are put out because of it and even die because of it. Or worse in some cases. And I'm not going to get into too much, but it can get worse than just dying. Especially when sexual assault and stuff is brought into it, rape and murder and whatnot together is, I would say, probably worse than just murder. Like, if someone is raped and murdered, that's a little worse than just being killed. I mean, both are like the worst kind of crimes and everything, but still. Um, the world is horrifically fucked up, and that is what causes it to run, especially in terms of capitalism, and especially in terms of countries like America. Really fucked up. And yeah, with the first one, like, artists and entertainers, they're not as important as a lot of other people in this world who do things that are more valuable to society, for lack of another way to put it. But that doesn't mean that you can't like them and everything. It's just acknowledge that they're not as big a deal, and that you should probably put more effort into, looking up to people who, actually do real good in the world, rather than just the entertainers who, make you laugh or make you feel good for a little bit each day. So yeah, again, the commentary's good. I just don't get the act as like comedy and whatnot, and I don't know. Maybe it's just not my kind of thing. But like I said, we'll continue to go through these. I think we have a couple more left, like two or three more, and hopefully we'll start to see some more within those. But I will say that these ones were, I guess you could say, better than the last one, just also very different. But yeah, just overall, tell me your thoughts. Please be nice. Don't be an asshole in the comments and everything. Just understand, again, I don't have certain contexts and stuff. I'm just going based off what I've got here. So don't be rude about it. If you want to explain something to me, please do. I am all good for hearing explanations. I want to hear like what other people get from this, and what other people are even supposed to get from this, and like if I missed anything, or if there's something I wouldn't understand, maybe. Just be nice about it, you know? Let me know down in the comments below. And thank you, as always, so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.